This was the first lifetime I lived in a vessel, and these things called emotions shook me to my core. It gave me a more in-depth experience to the perspectives of someone outside of myself. This man I saw for the first time would be the man I would come to know as a father, and he loved me fearlessly. He showed me a version of myself I could become, the proper representation of a masculine. He never wanted me to be anything but myself, and would show me the easygoing life even if he was the king of the mountain. In the ancient world, before many universes were created, a boy was raised by the head masculine of a family. The woman would give birth amongst the feminine, and the child would be left in the bushes for the masculine to discover. He or she would inspect the child, and if deemed acceptable, the child would be raised by the masculine to a certain point. Dad was proud, and I tried to live up to all his expectations, even though there were none. The same way I would raise my son. I would waddle down the hallways, drooling everywhere, trying to get my footing on the uneven, polished floors, chasing his oversized shadow. I hadn't met my first mother, and the only feminine were the women and men falling over themselves to make sure everything was handled when it came to my well-being. Each day, after handling all turns of business, my dad would sit at the peak of the mountain on a stone chair made from rock and place me on his lap, showing me the lands and telling me about his day or explaining as best as he could the movements of the wealthy and the poor. I was so small in comparison to him sitting there, deep voice and expressive hand gestures. To me, his day was full of meetings and hearing the people of the land's trouble, but also add on taking the time to be with his wife and me must have been hard. He never allowed his busy day to affect his emotions or even darken his mood. If only he knew who I was and how he would influence every child I would raise in the future. A great man he was. One day, there was so much movement in the castle. He spoke of my revealing the prior day and the fact I would meet my mother finally. I was nervous, as was he. The woman I would come to know as my mother left me in his care, and as a masculine he had to present me to her as a gift. I promised he would be able to present a proper heir to the throne and a son to carry the lineage. Everything would be judged by the people in court, but he would say my energy meant most to her. She would be happy to see and feel if I was able to be a great man or a heathen, he'd say, tickling me. Mother was the sweetest woman I would come to know, but decorum was important, and representation quickly followed. Above all, though, love and family reigned supreme. All the help within the castle fussed over me all morning, combing my hair, dressing me, and preparing everything needed to impress her. Surely her giving birth to me in this lifetime meant she couldn't refuse me, right? All the women and men questioned if I was strong enough, how she might perceive me, or whether she would outright deny my place in the family. It didn't matter, as I walked with my father to a room with only two sets of doors on opposite sides. Ceilings 2 stories high, woodwork carved with the family sigil surrounding the octagon-shaped room, and metal hinges holding the palatial doors closed. I held my father's large fingers, and a butterfly crossed my path as we stepped through one set of doors. Breaking protocol, I dropped his fingers and ran for the butterfly. All the individuals on the second floor gasped, and I took off giggling in circles trying to catch the butterfly, and my father chased after me. He smiled so hard, and all the helpers off to the side laughed aloud as well. When I finally grasped the butterfly, I plopped on the ground and peeked into my closed hands, and couldn't help but stare at the fluorescent wings, to the point I couldn't even hear the other set of doors open, or the soft steps coming my way. A female voice asked, "May I see?"